Now we're going to have some practitioners come and speak to you about their work in getting to net zero. Councillor Susan Aitken is the leader of the Glasgow City Council. She was elected in 2017 and re-elected in 2022. She's been a champion for climate change in her city, among other things. She has a degree in public policy, I believe, from the University of Glasgow and other degrees from the University of Strathclyde. And she has just stepped down as the chair of the board of Resilient Cities Network in order to take on some other work, which I think she'll tell you a little bit about today. She will be joined by Bertrand Millot, who's head of sustainability at La Caisse. La Caisse is the second largest pension fund in Canada, half a trillion Canadian dollars under management. He is head of sustainability, where he has developed the plan for its climate change investments. They have a target of getting to an enormous amount of money in climate change. They're halfway there now, and he's going to tell you about that. He holds degrees in business from McGill and a Master's of Engineering from the École Nationale Supérieure des Arts et Métiers. Please come. So Susan, are cities the right places and the right level for this discussion for investors?
Yes, definitely. If you're an investor and you want to see impact, you want to see pace, you want to see real world delivery where it is actually making the kind of difference to communities that Meta just talked about. And if you want partners, collaborators who are in the place where you're investing for the long term, then cities deliver all of that. We also increasingly are delivering scale. That's relatively new, but all of us, I think, certainly all of the city networks in the UK and a lot of the work that we've been doing through the Resilient Cities Network has been supporting cities globally to develop those investable propositions at the scale that institutional investors are looking for, whether that is heat and energy transition, whether it's mass transit, whether it is building retrofit and building adaptation, or investment in nature. There is a recognition among cities that they need to be able to scale up and aggregate our investment pipeline to be able to attract the levels of investment that we need to deliver, not just for our emissions reduction targets, but crucially for those social and economic outcomes that we want to deliver for our residents. We are still facing challenges as public authorities. I'm not going to pretend that that's not the case. Certainly in the UK, cities, with the possible exception of London, we are significantly constrained in terms of what we have available to us in public finance. And all of us also have the job of making sure that we're still delivering public services at the end of all these investment partnerships. But more and more cities are learning how to think differently, how to shift our own risk appetite in the context of those investments, and how we move our thinking to be able to work with investors over the long term and enter into those partnerships. And I guess what we're asking is that the investment community moves a little bit towards us as well, so that we can find that sweet spot. We understand entirely that investors need a return on their investment, but I also believe that in all of the work I've done in this space, that investors are also looking for that real world impact that they can talk about, they can use as a demonstration of the effectiveness of their investments, and that's where cities are really able to deliver.
Okay, Bertrand, you just heard this passionate plea from Susan about the importance of cities and why you must invest. Well, maybe not in Scotland, but certainly in the areas that you're investing in. How do you approach your partnership with cities?
let me get my checkbook out first. Hi, everybody, and thank you for having me. So, La Caisse, 517 billion Canadian dollars. We have a target to invest 400 billion by 2030 in climate solutions and companies that decarbonize. Shifted the focus from decarbonizing the portfolio to decarbonizing the real economy, and we're pushing. Now, we are the pension plan in Quebec. We also have a mandate to generate return first, a mandate to support the development of the Quebec economy, and we do so sustainably. Our Quebec mandate doesn't mean we only invest in Quebec, we invest across the world, including in this country. Now, what distinguishes us from other pension plans is that other international ones, because we follow the Canadian model and we're pretty much similar with our peers, is that we do our investments internally in-house. We don't use that much external managers, so we have about 600 investment staff, and that makes us a hands-on investor. And this is very, very important in order to have the dialogue with cities. You know, if you go through an external manager, then you're not having the dialogue. Your manager may be. So the structure is very important, and we engage with the Quebec government, with the City of Montreal, with the City of Quebec City, and other cities to discuss their plans, their needs, and how we might be able to help them structure some projects, largely in two sectors: sustainable mobility and buildings, and the social issues that goes with that. It's a question of partnership, but the roles of the parties need to be very clear. We're there to structure the investment. We're there to help prioritize, to do the technical stuff and finance the thing, structure the financing. The city is there to facilitate, to obviously say what they want to achieve, and to arbitrate at the end. But that aspect is very, very important. So many projects that are led by governments, and not just cities, end up with politicians, politician A wanting this, politician B wanting that, politician C wanted that, and the project becomes so expensive that it never happens. And you see that time and time again. And the governments are usually not very good at making those arbitrations. Whereas we are, because we're independent, we have technical skills, we employ engineers, etc. We've actually created a subsidiary to help us do this. We're able to say, well, that dream A is going to cost so much, that dream B is going to cost so much, and this thing becomes unfinanceable. So what are we going to do here? Something realistic. And then we have the ability to think finance and structure the transaction in a way that will make it possible, including blended finance and including other mechanisms, which I'll expand on later.
Well, Bernard, that's pretty tough, isn't it, Susan? You've been faced with people like Bertrand, rather. What have you done to respond to the fact that Dream A isn't going to work, Dream B might work? How have you responded?
So I think that toughness is really welcome, actually. It's really necessary for political leaders and for people who work in the public sector to really understand what it is that makes an investable proposition, that makes our ambitions deliverable and makes them real. There's no point in us having these incredible dreams, as we've heard about, and these incredible ambitions, if actually they never become reality, and we never actually deliver anything for the people that I'm elected to represent. So a dose of pragmatism is no bad thing, and that technical expertise, which by and large doesn't exist in cities, and for good reason. It's not cities' jobs to create financial packages or to pull together the technical aspects of investments like that. So that technical expertise is incredibly important, and it's why collaborative approaches and partnerships between the public sector and the investment community are so crucial. We can't do this on our own, and we know we can't do this on our own. I'll say a little bit about what we've been doing in Glasgow. We did a couple of things. When we hosted COP26, or before we actually hosted it, we knew we were going to be hosting COP26. That really focused our minds. It was an opportunity for Glasgow to be on a world stage in a way that we hadn't ever really been as a city before to that degree. And so we pulled together quite quickly, I've got to say, what we called our green print for investment, which was the major net zero climate interventions and investments that we wanted to make. So I'll mention, there were 10 of them. I'll mention just a couple. One of them is our mass transit programme, our Clyde Metro, and the other is our local heat and energy efficiency strategy, which would put renewable source heat networks in place for the entire city. It's mapped out heat demand for the entire city. Those are major at-scale projects, billions of pounds worth of investment over the long term, genuinely transformational. But we knew that we'd done it at a pretty high level. They were nowhere near being investable. So we've used the opportunity since then to really dig into those projects, to look for advice, to do market testing, to understand the work that we need to do on business cases and on investability, cases for investment, to get them to the point where we can have that really serious conversations with investors. Simultaneously, we've been working on creating our own climate finance models, which will give us the confidence that we can enter into investment partnerships while not putting day-to-day public services at risk. And hopefully also give investors the confidence that they can work with us as a city, as a serious partner who gets what's required, who gets as much as we are able to, what financial institutions are looking for when they sign up to an investment partnership. To do that, we've had to shift quite a lot culturally as a city, as the public sector. We've had to significantly shift our risk appetite. And we were lucky to benefit through Resilient Cities, actually, from a partnership with Howden's Insurers, where we had an insurance professional embedded with us in the city for 3 months. And that was incredible learning about the balancing of risk, about how to make propositions not just investable, but also insurable, and how crucial that was. So we've put all of that into thinking about both our propositions and the financial models that we would use to leverage in the funding that we need to deliver those propositions. We've made a lot of progress. We're expecting by the end of this year to be able to go out to the markets, not just for testing this time, but to say, we're ready. Please come and talk to us. Please partner with us. And we have a range of potential projects that we would love to work with you on. Crucially within all of that as well, though, is making sure that the social and economic benefits that we want to deliver for our citizens aren't forgotten. That needs to be in there. We need to be able to demonstrate that equity impact and the benefits for the people of Glasgow, whether that's tackling fuel poverty, whether it's ensuring that new skills and jobs pipeline in the delivery of some of these major projects, and ensuring that that's accessible to people, whether it is improving air quality in the way that Meta talked about earlier. All of that has to be in there. And that's the balancing that cities have to always get right And we always have to ask the financial institutions to meet us in the place where those collective outcomes are being delivered. Investability and returns on that investment, emissions reduction and real impact in terms of that, but also the co-benefits that we can demonstrate to our communities, which will show them that all of this vast amount of investment is going to mean something real for them and their lives and their futures.
That's interesting. So you not only had to learn a new vocabulary and a new way of thinking, but you also had to think of a new way of communicating to your voters, because after all, your change is voting, whereas Bertrand's is bottom line. So can you give us some recent examples, Bertrand, of how you've dealt with cities and the kinds of projects you've had where you've been able to reconcile this issue of language communications and your motives?
Thank you for saying all this, because this is exactly what we look for when we collaborate with cities. We're in real estate. We build buildings. We own buildings. An example of that would be a building that we built in Montreal in partnership with the city. I mean, we own the thing, but which includes 20% affordable housing. It includes a community center. It has space for the cooperative economy, the circular economy, and that where so your social examples, it was part of the transaction. There was also a question. It was rehabilitating an area which was polluted. So we put all that together, had a discussion with the city. The city wanted this area redeveloped, and we agreed on this, where we're doing 327 units of housing, 20% of which are affordable, and the rest is market. But with some of that extra money, do all the community things that were necessary. Another example, in North America, we have shopping malls, large shopping malls with very large parking lots. And today, those parking lots are no longer necessary because public transport, especially in Montreal, but also in Quebec City, because public transport has improved. And so in one of those, or two of them actually, we are discussing with the city about rezoning the whole area so that we can build old people's home, low rental apartments, and revitalize those communities using that space that is currently covered in asphalt and being underused. But obviously you require zoning, you require a lot more sewage facilities, services that the city will provide, and as a result we end up with much better livable cities for the populations, areas that instead of being unwelcoming become revitalized, and there is more life around it. Another example is we finance, and this is built, almost finished now, a 67-kilometer rapid transit in Montreal. We financed, we basically designed the thing. The government, Quebec government, Montreal government, had been thinking about this for 20 years. Nothing happened. And we said to them, okay, let us have a go at it. And we created the subsidiaries with engineers, with economists, with everything, about 50 people. And basically did the arbitrage, just proposed a number of alignments, and thought about the financial model, because this is, a $6-7 billion Canadian dollar project, so it's a big project. We negotiated with the federal government and the Quebec government an element of blended finance, which they provide. We provided the rest of the money. But the project itself, it will help transit by definition. Two, it's electric, so reduction of greenhouse gases. There are bike paths around there as well. And importantly, we negotiated with the city and the province, the cities, because the project goes from the suburbs of Montreal to Montreal. a change in real estate tax laws so that we can capture for the project some of the premium that real estate developers will get when they build near stations, because now that land is suddenly a lot more valuable. So within a radius of 500 meters to a kilometer of the stations, there's special laws that apply for land tax, and that extra benefit accrues to the project to help finance it. And this is key because, you know, you need to share the benefits. So that kind of structure takes some time, but we managed to build this project in 5 years. Or 6, something like COVID intervened, so it got a little delayed. But the point is, you need to have a partnership, and you need to be able to talk to someone. You know, if you talk to a bank are very transactional. You need to talk to long-term investors. You need to talk to engineering companies and actually give them the latitude to do what they're best at. Somebody asked me the other day, what does bankable mean? I said, not fuzzy. You know, the roles and responsibility needs to be clear. There must be an agreement as to what we're constructing, and then we're not changing that, and we get on with it and build it. Because when you change things in the middle, it becomes very, very expensive.
I hope, audience, that you appreciate what you've just seen. This was a demonstration of unbelievable leadership. Leadership on the political end, because after all, the mayor, or the council leader, has to sell this project to her people. Leadership on the financial end, after all, the financier has to put it together and make it work. This is just brilliant. Thank you very, very much. Do you have one last word you'd each like to say?
I mean, I guess my last word is, you know, Meta mentioned it earlier. It is cities who are delivering. Cities are really ambitious around climate investment, and the great cities of the world are holding their nerve on this as well. We are under a lot of political pressure to walk away from the climate agenda, a lot of pressure here in the UK, but it is cities who are holding their nerve and saying, no, this is the right approach. It is the right way, not just to save our planet, but also to transform places and economies to make them work better for people. And that's why we need to hold firm and hold the line when it comes to defending climate investment and climate action.
Bertrand?
I would say to cities, have the courage of your ambitions, be creative, but also get advice from third-party trusted and listen to them. Give them the latitude that they need.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. Big hand for them.